Yo, what up, guys? This is Hector with Social Skills Coaching. Today I'm in some ritual site where there's either some pagan rituals, Satanism probably, who fucking knows. But it's an interesting place, nonetheless. I would say when I found out about this place, it just sparked a little curiosity. Who made this? Who wrote on these pillars? Who comes here? Who's the type of person to come and explore this? Interesting. But that's not the topic of this video today. Today I want to kind of dive into another idea. And it's the idea of being grounded in reality. And why that's so important. Because too often, people, get invested, are outcome dependent, rely too much on the external world to satisfy their needs. And when this happens, it distorts the internal worldview and makes you delusional, and it creates fantasies that will either disappoint you when you achieve them or are completely unrealistic and will just leave you feeling empty. So, what kind of example am I talking about? Well, this can stem from many places, but ultimately it comes from the place of needing, of wanting things just to work out, right? And trying so desperately to achieve this. In a social situation, whether you're trying to make friends, you're trying to network with people, or you're trying to be in a relationship with another person, right? It's hard to, not be that person that needs it to work. Obviously, we want to meet new people. Obviously, we want to be able to become better in a social interaction. But in order to achieve this, in order to actually get the relationships we want, friendships we want, and the partners, the networks that we want, we have to come from a position of, having control over ourselves and not being too worried about scarcity, being more of an abundance mindset. So, let's come up with this story. We're going to the grocery store, or we're going to our class, we're going to our job. And as we're walking, we have our coffee in hand, we're sipping away, we're probably doing a little bit of photography, we're going about our day. And when we look up, we see the one. That person that fits every criteria in our heads, right? Every criteria of how they should look, of how they present themselves. It's the one. Now, it's a little bit extreme to think of it, in that way, but it happens. Sometimes we just completely create this whole story arc about this one individual or this one group, right? It can be, we saw their glowing red hair, their fair skin, their blue eyes, and we just tell ourselves, wow. We first start off with the idea of, wow, they're really attractive. Or wow, they're really nice. And that leads to thinking into the future. Okay, I want to get to know them, right? They seem like a really cool person. I want to get to know them, get to be in their life, or have them in my life. Which I don't blame anyone for doing that. But usually the next step is, we would make a really good couple. If we go on a date, it's going to be the best date ever. Oh, the intimacy, the passion, the companionship, the friendship. It's going to be so amazing, right? Oh, and then we start thinking about long term. We're going to get married. We're going to have the 2.5 kids. We're going to have the dog, right? We're going to have the house with the white picket fence. Oh, we're going to get, into our late 60s. We're going to retire. We're going to live the rest of our lives happily ever after, right? Extreme, I know. But Don't say this hasn't happened to you. Don't say you've never met someone and just dived into that. Maybe it's a partner you've had before. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's a potential business endeavor. You've thought about the future of what could be. Remember, of what could be for anything. And now you start to invest yourself with that idea, with that fantasy. Now, I'm not saying, that planning to the future and knowing your goals isn't important. I agree 100% with that. But once you start to fixate and be so delusional of what, you don't really know what this endeavor is going to take you in. This person might be the love of your life, or they might not be. They might be your best friend, or they might not be. It's the truth. We really don't know. In psychology, there's a terminology called Schrodingers Cat. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's basically the idea that in a box, there's a cat. And with the cat is a little glass vial of toxic, poisonous gas, right? Now, the likelihood of the cat tipping the vial and breaking it is possible, right? But without knowing, without looking inside the box, what is the likelihood? What is the cat dead or alive? And in all reality, it's both. The cat is both dead and alive because we just don't have the information. The possibilities are there. So if you start to create this fantasy of what could be, you're not being realistic. You're not taking into consideration that can go the complete opposite way. And often not, when we do, start to develop a plan, start to take action in this way, and it doesn't go according to plan, we usually feel a little bit disappointed. We feel a little bit of pain. Now, if we've invested a lot of energy, a lot of emotions, a lot of psychological capital in this endeavor, whether it be someone that you met and you're going on a few dates, and you start to develop this connection, but it just isn't reciprocated, you're devastated, obviously. Or when your friend chooses to move away over being friends, you're devastated because it's your best friend, right? But you can't fault people for that. They're going to do whatever they are inclined to do. It's their right. To control people and try to force things to your little narrative, to your fantasy, that's called slavery, right? And in a free society, slavery is illegal, right? So, what you're trying to do is basically manipulation and trying to force things to work so that you can be happy. It's okay to, strategize and do the right things from yourself coming out, but if you're trying to force things so that you can take, well, you're going about it the wrong way. So, you've built up a fantasy, and you either are unsatisfied, or you're disappointed because you didn't get what you wanted. You either got it and were disappointed, or you didn't get it and you're upset now. It didn't go according to plan. You ask yourself, well, how am I supposed to recognize when I do this? You can't really. It's hard to. You're going to do whatever you are instinctually driven to do. If you feel like you have to, be with this person, okay, you're going to go for it. There's nothing we can say. There's nothing I can say. There's nothing that no one can say to take that away from you. You're going to do it. And that's okay. Because in every endeavor, and this is what life is going to teach us, when we try to pursue things that are unrealistic, that are completely delusional, life is going to teach us the lesson of smacking you in the head. It's going to teach you not to reach for those fantasies and to be grounded and to know that there are the possibility that's not going to work. It can and cannot work. You have to acknowledge that. But when you're in that little mental high, when you're in that spiral loop of, no, this is the one. I found the one. This is it. Now I can relax. Life's going to smack you. I like to use the analogy of the cookie jar. When we're kids, we like little sweets, we like candy, we like cookies. But what do our parents do? They tell us no. And in my case, they would say no. And they wouldn't physically abuse me, but it would feel like that. It would feel like boom, you're gonna get hit. So what is life basically doing to you when you try to, go this way? You reach for the cookie jar. You say, I want it. I want it. It's gonna taste so good. Life hits you. You reach again. I want the cookie. Life hits you. Tells you no, you can't have it. It's not time yet. You want it too much. No. Okay. Smack. Right? Until you learn your lesson. Until the pain, the emotional pain, is too much. And so what usually happens after that is you tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to, if I get the cookie, if someone gives it to me or if it just falls out of the sky onto my lap, I'll take it. Okay? Falls in your lap, or life gives you the cookie because you were a good little boy, right? You eat it, and you can, there's two options. You can either, savor it so much and you think it's the best thing ever, right? And fair enough, it's probably pretty good. But then you start to get more hungry. You start to want more cookies. One's not enough. You need more. That one wasn't satisfying. It didn't satiate your need. And so you reach for more. You reach for a second cookie. And life's like, no. One, that's it. That was your cutoff. You really want another? Okay, go ahead. Grab one. Smack. And you're back to square one. Possibility number two is you eat the cookie. You say, this was pretty good, but I don't need any more. That in of itself is just a treat. I don't need the cookie. I'm glad it happened, but I don't need it. Right? So that's how you have to approach every interaction, every possibility. You have to think to yourself, this is good enough. I'm glad this happened. Was I expecting this? No. It could have been, or it could have not been. This is good. You just got to be accepting of whatever comes to you, okay? Okay, buddy? Accept. Acceptance of what is, not of what could be. It's important to understand that. Once we get rid of these delusions, once we start living in the fantasy world, we'll be grounded, we'll be with nature, we'll be within the world, and we'll be able to actually achieve the things we want. Realistically. We won't be attached, we'll be free of the outcome, and we'll just be more free from any delusions, from any psychological pain that we put ourselves through. Because when you put yourself through that fantasy, you create this narrative, and that it has to work, and you create this grandiose storyline, which is not real. Things are a lot more simple than you realize. So, life is going to teach you the lesson. It's going to smack you around. And there comes a point where you're going to learn. You're going to learn the lesson. It's going to hurt. You're going to have to experience this possibly dozens, hundreds, possibly thousands of times. Where you have to put yourself in that position and have it completely ripped out of you. Your heart, your soul, everything. You gotta tell yourself, okay, boundaries, Hector. Keep your boundaries so that you can stay stable. And that's the thing, stability, and having those boundaries, and knowing when to cut yourself off of certain drugs, whether it's a drug of love, my favorite, or if it's, cutting off people that aren't helping you, that are feeding you negative insights, feeding you negative energy. You got to learn to be your own parent. Remember, in any situation, you have to be coming from the place that it's okay if it doesn't work. It's fine. You don't need it. You don't need the things around you to work out for you to be okay. You're fine just the way you are. You're stable. You have emotional capital. You have emotional monopoly over yourself. That's the key. And when someone tries to, feed you the cookie to try to manipulate you and try to take, you'll know that I don't need this. I don't need this. You can just cut it off. And that's so much power, because you are no longer bound by these biological drives, these egotistical drives, these sociological drives. You're just bound by whatever feels and is good, what is healthy. And that's power. That's power over yourself, and that's power to influence the environment around you. Your ability to not be influenced is an influencing power. So, to wrap it all up, to get the message straight, don't be so fixated on these ideas, these plans, these fantasies that you create in your head. Remember that everything has a possibility to just fall apart and not go the way you want it to. And that's okay. Remembering that you don't need the external or psychological stimulus. You in of itself, the self, the in-between of the inner and outer worlds is good enough. As long as you're conscious, that's good enough. Stay away from the fantasies. Stay away from the cookie. If it comes to you, okay, perfect. But don't need it. Don't be dependent on it. Enjoy it for what it is and continue on being you, living your own life, not needing it. And that's it. That's the key to being truly free. Now, what helps with this? Well, like I said, going into the emotional depths in terms of the highs and lows, going to heaven and going to hell, essentially, in the psychological terminology, figuratively, right? You got to explore the emotional width and depth to develop the self, to develop the understanding of who you are and the world around you. Second thing, meditation. Meditation helps you hone in into the self. It helps regulate your emotions, right? And your physiological state. It's been proven. Scientific. Third thing is treat everything like it's the last day. Treat like it's the last day. Are you really gonna care what's gonna happen tomorrow? Are you really gonna care if this person disses you or seduces you or tries to manipulate you or you need it to? No, it's your last day, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy it for what it is. The third one, it's going to take a little bit more mental gymnastics. The first two are more recommended. But the third one is for those who are really like, wow, it's my last day. That's crazy. Right? And honestly, like the idea of being free comes in handy when you're trying to socialize, right? When you're trying to interact, make friends, build relationships, build your network, build your business. It's important to be free so that others can register that you're not in here, you're not in this to take. You're in this just to exist, to coexist, to vibe, to feed off of each other, to just spread love. It's important. So, this is the video on how to get rid of your delusions, stop living in a fantasy world, and being grounded. Being grounded in yourself and achieving freedom. If you are interested in this topic, if you want to continue the conversation, by all means, leave a message, leave a comment, like the video, share it, and let's keep the conversation going, because I like this. I like talking about this kind of stuff. It's interesting. If you personally suffer from social anxiety, you're not able to express yourself fully, if you have trouble interacting socially, then I would highly recommend sending me a DM. I offer free consultation calls for those who are really interested in improving their life. And as all, this was an amazing video, and I'll see you guys next time.